Good morning to both of you. So, Robert, I'll start with you, if that's all right. Is Britain broken, do you think? Who's right on all of this?
I think I'm 18 months out of the Westminster bubble, and I go around the country and I use public transport, and I see a country that's under strain and has huge challenges, and a lot of people who are frustrated by public services and, who want better, and so do I. But to say the country's fundamentally broken is, I think, to present too pessimistic an outlook. Politics and political ideas should be about the better times that are to come. And a healthy dose of optimism and positivity is what you need in politics. Now, it shouldn't just be, vague, sunny optimism. It's got to be based upon reality. But if you're not ambitious for your country and saying, look, this is a great country, but we want it to be greater still, then I don't think you're starting from the right place. So I think Kemi Badenoch is absolutely right to emphasise the point that whilst this particular government, in its incompetence and lack of a plan, is making things worse, we can get better and we will get better and improve a situation that we inherit. So Britain is not broken, but it does have challenges. OK,
Councillor Russell Simpson, Britain is not broken, says Sir Robert.
Well, we disagree with that. I mean, at the end of the day, we've had 14 years of a failed Conservative government. We've had 18 months of a failed Labour government. Clearly, something also that the Conservatives and Labour are in denial about. And that's actually one of the reasons why Robert Jenrick felt he couldn't stay. I mean, they broke Britain by basic things, increasing NHS waiting times, increased energy bills, lack of growth in the economy, failed in Brexit, failed to control immigration. But from a council point of view, the most vital thing that I feel that they broke is trust with everyday voters. They don't trust the Conservatives or Labour anymore. They are fed up with the status quo, fed up with the establishment and not feeling heard. I hear this every day on the doors. Give Reform a chance. So I think these MPs need to go out and start listening to the people.
So the issue is trust. You're saying that's what's driving people to Reform UK. I can see you nodding along. When Robert Jenrick stands as a Reform MP in the next election, why should people trust him?
Because he has a wealth of experience and he's holding...
Well, hang on a minute. So it's a wealth of experience when it's Robert Jenrick, but it's failure when it's Conservative MPs who haven't defected to Reform UK. I don't understand.
No, not at all. I mean, Robert Jenrick has stood up and said, I've made mistakes and I want to learn from those mistakes. And the Conservatives don't want to learn from anything. There's literally no humility because this, he was in that meeting and they said, look, we broke Britain, but we don't want to admit it. And he was like, well, I can't handle that. That's just not right. So I'm going to leave. And other MPs and former Conservative MPs have not done that.
So, Robert, is there something in that this is at least an admission by Robert Jenrick, which he was making actually for some time? I remember interviewing him on Good Morning Britain at the back end of last year, and I thought he was quite bold in saying, look, the Conservatives made mistakes. We haven't always heard that same level of candidness from other Conservative figures who, understandably, politically, it's quite difficult to accept that you made mistakes because you're sort of teeing up the voters to punish you for it. But isn't that what is needed, a level of honesty for the Conservative Party to renew itself?
Well, I'm seeing it. I mean, we took a hell of a drubbing in 2024. Why? Because we made mistakes and let the country down. And we paid a huge price for that. And, the word humility is something that I and other Conservatives use all the time. It's absolutely the right place that we have to start from. We've got to earn the trust and respect of the British people. That takes a long time and it takes a lot of hard work. But, we elected a Labour government that clearly didn't have a plan and it's making a right mess of everything. Do we really want to go down the road of electing potentially a Reform government that doesn't have a plan and will make all the same mistakes? I think it's far better for the Conservative Party to regroup, to think deeply about the future, not introspection, but about what the people's priorities are. And to remember that trust has gone in politics. I agree with what's just been said, but it's been a long time coming. We had the expenses scandal 15 years ago. We had that great economic crash back in 2008, which we've never fully recovered from, frankly, as a country. And also the Iraq War. Let's go back 20 years when trust was really eroded in the Blair government. All these things have had a cumulative effect on politics. And we're seeing the chickens coming home to roost now. What isn't boosted, I'm afraid, is a politician who one day says that he's loyal to the Conservative Party and respects all his colleagues, and then within hours is trashing everybody on a very personal level. I don't think that helps increase trust in politics.
Are you glad to see? Are you glad to see the back of Robert Jenrick then? In that sense?
Frankly, yes. I'm afraid. I don't think, by the way, it's some huge seismic event in the right of politics.
No,
I think that's
senior shadow cabinet figure, leadership contender, defecting to Reform UK.
I think it'll be forgotten in a few days. I think that also to mischaracterise. I think a lot of Reform members would agree with this. To mischaracterise this as some sort of battle just for Conservative voters on the right is wrong. Reform is getting its support from disillusioned Labour voters and people who never voted in the past at all. And so this left-right thing, I think, is becoming increasingly irrelevant in politics. Okay. There are different forces at work now, cultural forces, politics of identity, which is reshaping British politics. And that's something that we should look at much more closely than an individual like Robert Jenrick.
Well, that's an element of it, but individuals matter in politics too. I mean, Reform UK wouldn't be what it is without Nigel Farage, for example. Councillor Russell Simpson, do you agree that this will all be forgotten in a few days' time? Robert Jenrick will be a has-been, essentially, and that you won't actually do much for your party at all?
Well, our membership doesn't say that. Our membership is increasing, and you've got to assume that if our membership's increasing, the Conservatives is decreasing. I find it interesting that any Conservatives can say they're not bothered about Robert Jenrick when he's been with them since 16 years old. That's a lot of loyalty, and he must have felt that loyalty was absolutely broken.
Or perhaps he was just fed up of not being leader of the party, which is definitely a part of it.
Well, he was second. He was second in line, and that's a pretty great place to be at if you are going to just focus on your political career. And he's taken a back step, essentially on his ascension by joining Reform. So, if anything, I think it comes back to humility.
He could be a problem for Nigel Farage, though. Do you want someone like that in your party? It's great when they're defecting to you and they're proclaiming their support for you. But what about in 6 months' time when Robert Jenrick feels snubbed or fed up or bored, and all of a sudden briefings may well start appearing in the papers about Nigel Farage?
Well, technically, he didn't really defect, did he? Because he was fired and then he joined us. So I wouldn't necessarily.
But he was still a Conservative MP at the point at which he was fired. He did defect. But
I don't feel that he will be a problem. I think he will add to Reform UK.
Okay. So, Robert, just lastly on this, I mean, we see speculation as well in the papers today about Labour's infighting and, Wes Streeting, etc. Have we just become utterly addicted to this psychodrama in our British politics, partly thanks to the sorts of governments that you were a part of, where we had Boris Johnson and Liz Truss and Rishi Sunak, etc.? Do we just need to get over this idea of changing leaders every couple of years?
Oh, yeah, we do. I mean, look, we can go back to Blair Brown. We can go back to the Thatcher years. There's something addictive about the psychodrama, which isn't just politicians, it's the media as well. You guys help feed all this. And, out in the country, people are filling in their tax returns. They're trying to work out how to make ends meet. January's a pretty miserable month. People are getting their heads down and trying to get through the winter. And they're pretty bemused and, frankly, rather teed off by these political parlour games. And that's why I meant what I said. I really don't think that, the events of the last few days are going to register hugely with voters. What matters to them is the performance of the British economy and, their shopping bills and whether they feel that they've got more money in their pockets to pay for their holidays and those little extras that they want to give to their families. That's what's important in politics. And focusing upon people's priorities is where we should be. And, Labour, once again, what's the old adage, Paul? Never interrupt your enemy when they're making a mistake. Well, look what Labour have just done. I mean, it is extraordinary. Yeah. The amateurish nature of this Labour government, their poor management of politics, their failure to actually tell the British people where they want to take the country is, I'm afraid, giving them a negative dividend. And this is just going to carry on. And people need to remember that there's nothing worse than a divided party. I think at the moment, it's the Tories who are the united party and Kemi Badenoch who's showing strong leadership. Keir Starmer really has not got much time left.
Easier to be united when you're a smaller party, and certainly smaller after Robert Jenrick's left. Sir Robert Buckland, thank you very much for your time, and also thanks very much there to Councillor Russell Simpson from Reform UK.